Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Gundog Outdoors. Almost screwed up again. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
That is me. It's steamy down here today, it feels like.
Yeah, it's a lot of moisture. We got a lot of water in the ground everywhere you go.
That must be it. We're not used to it. On the phone with us today, or on Skype, all that good stuff, Mr. Alex Langbell. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're kicking down, those dog days of summer. We're knocking them down, getting closer and closer.
Is that a painting of Russell Wilson behind you?
Yeah, actually, it is. It was his second year when he was just actually crushing it. He still is crushing it, but yes, sir, it is.
I drafted him last year, and I'm not going to say nothing about how I come out, but I am the champion of our league again last year. And every year, whoever has Russell Wilson has finished in the money every year in our league. He is consistent as they come. So, are you a big Seahawks fan?
Yeah, I have to be, man. I lived in the Northwest since '89, and I'm a big football fan, and it's you gotta like the Seahawks because they're just kind of up here by themselves, and we really don't have anyone to root for. So it's like Seahawks, you got it. If you're either in Idaho, Montana, or Oregon or Washington, it's just like. You gotta like the Seahawks. Although I'm finding there are a lot of Denver fans living over here in Montana.
Yeah,
there's still plenty of Seahawks
probably gonna be fans. We've got a local kid that plays for Seattle. Yeah. He was a first-round draft pick, Lawrence Collier. LJ Collier, excuse me.
Lawrence's dad.
He's from 12 miles down the road from here.
He's a stud.
So Andy thinks Arizona's going to win the division. I think Andy's on crack. What do you think?
Did I say when the fuck did I say that?
About 2 months ago on the podcast, you picked Arizona to win it.
I don't remember.
Well, being a Seahawks fan, I'd be hung by my nuts if I said Arizona or LA or any of the other teams. So I got to disagree with Andy if he said it.
He did say he said Arizona's going to be in the playoffs. I go, huh? He goes, who's going to beat them? I thought, well, fuck, San Francisco and Seattle. And probably the Rams.
Yeah. I don't remember if I said that or not. Listen, I graduated from Texas Tech, so like if I have any opportunity to kind of hype up Cliff Kingsbury, I got to take it. So, listen,
okay. I copied.
I don't know that I really.
You did say that.
I don't know that I meant what I said. I think I was just trying to get a rise out of Jeff more than anything.
You look stupid.
That's the thing. Half the stuff I say, I'm really just trying to poke the bear over there and get an argument going. So that's really. It's kind of
taking Arizona to go to the playoffs was damn sure stupid, and then to be going for Cliff Kingsbury, he's never won anywhere.
Hard to deny it.
Okay.
It's hard to deny. He beat your fucking Longhorns no, he wasn't there. I was talking about my Red Raiders.
Yeah, it was Mike Leach.
Whatever. I don't give a shit.
So, anyways, how is business at Gundog? Y'all busy?
Oh man, we're killing it. We're doing great. It's amazing when you put out quality product and you stand behind customer service 100% and just are genuine and focused on just having a good company that takes care of the customers and more so just taking care of the dogs and the gun dogs. And I mean we're doing wonderful. I mean Cabela's just reached out to me a couple months ago and they want to carry our aid kit. So. That's saying something, so I don't know whether or not we'll do it, but right now things are going really well. In fact, I was able to retire a little early. I retired as soon as I could, and now I'm just focused on growing the company and hunting and traveling and living the dream, man.
How long were you a fireman?
27 years.
27 years. So you started out as a fireman in 1984?
No.
Is that right?
No.
1994. I'm sorry. 94. I'm sorry. God almighty. You started as a fireman in 1994.
Yes, exactly. 94. Good job.
Was there a big?
Yeah, I started out a volunteer, and then I became a resident, and then I decided I really want to do it for a living, and I just started testing, and then became a fireman, and I never thought I wanted to move up the ranks. I thought I was going to be happy with just being a firefighter, but apparently my bosses thought otherwise, and I kept getting promoted and ended up as rank as a training captain. So I was responsible for running the training division for our department, and so that was pretty cool position. I didn't have the glory of fighting fire and going in and coming out all, after 20 years. But the last 6 years, I trained over 40 firefighters to do their job, and now they're working. So it's pretty rewarding, that I got my stamp on those guys, and they're really solid individuals, and carrying on the tradition of being a firefighter.
Did you notice a big change? My dad was a retired firefighter. Now, he was a fireman from the 70s to the mid 90s, but did you notice a big change in the fire department with everything being so politically correct and not as much fun as it was when you were a rookie fireman and younger?
It's pretty funny. I was just talking about this to the coach of the local high school football team here at the gym I was working out at, and I was talking about how over on that on the left side, the west side of the state, like anyone can, in their mindset, anyone can be a fireman. It's like if they failed academy, we'll put you recirculate you through, and you'll make it the next time. And they're just wasting money and time. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've been in plenty of fires. I've been in situations where I've been scared for my life. Obviously you just do it, the job, and you don't say anything. But there's situations where you need to be on your game as an athlete, and it's not a job for everyone. Not everyone can do that job of firefighter. And unfortunately, with the politicians out there, they feel like it isn't necessarily the best man for the job. They feel like they have to hit a certain quota and do stuff like that, which is completely wrong. Whereas in our department, our training division, we're on a much more conservative part of the state, where our philosophy is the best man for the job, or woman. And it didn't matter. I don't care if you're purple, green, blue, or gray. It's like, as long as you can do the job and you can beat everyone else out and do the job, and you got the job. But they don't see it over there that way. They see it's just like, we got to have a certain class of individuals, because there's not enough of them in it, and it's completely wrong. Because I'm telling you right now, I've been doing it I did it for a long time, and there's situations that not everyone can handle. Not just physically, but mentally.
Right.
And so that's why our department really focused on making sure you're physically able to do the job and you're mentally able to do the job. And so my training lieutenant was a ex-Marine sniper. And he was Joe Burbank. He had a jaw that was just like a rock, and he would scare anyone. He scared me, and I was just an officer. But anyway, he was in charge of making sure our young guys, they would pass academy, and we didn't pull any punches. We didn't let any. If you didn't handle it, if you couldn't handle it, we sent you down the road. We're not going to deal with that politically correct stuff. And luckily, we didn't see it yet. I'm not saying it's not coming, but when I left, it was still, we had standards. We have a bar we set, and that bar, we're not moving it for anyone. Either you passed that, you made it, and you're Yakima firefighter, or you're not. And so that's, politics has, Jeff, it has crept into the fire service, and as we all see in the police service as well. It's ridiculous what those poor guys are going through.
The new law passed in Washington, I guess yesterday, is absolutely the most asinine thing I've ever read. Police cannot chase you for 90% of the things unless you've killed somebody.
I think it's that way. It's other places,
and it's the stupidest shit ever. You can rape someone, but you can't. We'll just pick them up later down the road.
Where was that? Was it? It was after one of the shootings where they said that they would enact a no chase policy.
Yeah,
because I think it was a shooting in Chicago, maybe, with the retarded kid.
I don't think you can say retarded, Andy.
Well,
you should know better than that.
Whatever he was. He was
mentally disabled.
What was his name? Little Killer or something like that?
Oh, Little Homicide.
Yes. Yeah.
He wasn't retarded. He was just a thug.
One of them was retarded, I thought.
No, he's just a thug. But Washington State just passed this law where you can't chase nobody for 90% of the things that you would chase them for. It's the dumbest shit ever. It's just let the cops have a free pass. The bad guys have a free pass. Cops don't have a chance to do their job no more.
No. 20% of the police force in Seattle would quit last year. Quit or moved on to other departments.
I don't blame them.
Because they can't do their job.
Yeah, I don't blame them at all. And not only, you see this in so many, where people are lowering, the bar to be in, they're lowering the bar to be in military and all these places, but not only is that dangerous to, you as an individual, it's dangerous to the people that you're working with. I mean,
Absolutely.
how much do you weigh? 200 pounds? 210 pounds?
Yeah. Yep. 200 pounds. Yep. 205.
I mean, if you lower the bar to where somebody can, only has to lift 115 pounds and that's all they're capable of doing, and you fall out in a fire, well, how are they supposed to drag you out?
Correct. That's exactly, you nailed it, Andy. That's exactly what we preach. It's like, you got to be able to do your job and pull someone out. And that, when it comes down to it, we're doing a job, not all the times life threatening, but there are times in your career that it's going to be dangerous and you're going to have to pull people out of buildings. I've pulled out many people out of buildings, some alive, some not so much, but you still need to just man up and do your job. And unfortunately, with the silly laws that they're passing now, it's just really hurting the industry. And you're right, it's endangering the taxpayers, the citizens, because what if that's your father, your mother, or your grandfather in there, and you got someone who took 3 times to pass the academy because they physically couldn't do it, but because we want to meet our quota, that's just not right. And so, but this country is a mess, in my opinion. So that's why I moved out to the sticks, to where I have a long driveway.
So, what were some of your closer calls during your career as a firefighter? Looking back on that,
I've had 3 incidents where I probably could have died. One incident was in a big paint warehouse fire, and our crew was always assigned to go in. We had a really badass crew. This is when I was a firefighter, for lieutenant, and we were always assigned the tough tasks. And we had this fire that we were either going to go in and put it out within a few minutes or get out, and we were just going to call it. And we went in there, and I can remember going in, and it was so hot and it was so dark, and then we finally made it to the fire room, and it's a big room. It's a warehouse type building. We got in there, and we just managed to knock it down just in time before it really got going in there. And then that was scary. I mean, crawling in there, I've been in a lot of house fires, but when you start crawling into a 10,000 square foot building that's just crap, paint everywhere, highly volatile, stuff like that really makes your butt pucker. And so that was one situation I remember vividly when I was a firefighter, and a couple other times when I was a officer. I remember as a fire officer, when you show up first on scene in a house fire, you have to walk around the structure, and you got to make sure you give a good size up to the next coming crews, and you know what you're dealing with, whether it's a 1-story, 2-story, if it's a basement, whatever, if there's fire in the backside. So on my walk around, it was first crew, my crew was fighting fire in the front. I walked around the back, and it's 3 a.m, dark. I go around the back, and I look down, and I'm standing on a service drop, and which was actually turned out to be charred. It was still alive. And that, I got lucky on that one, because easily, I wouldn't be here today. And another time was I was on the highway we had a rollover accident. We were trading one patient, and I went to the other side of the freeway looking because when you have rollovers, a lot of times people get ejected and they get thrown. You got to kind of look for them. So again, it's just 2 a.m. Walked out there. I looked to the other side of the freeway as I was walking back. We call them looky-loos, where they looking at the scene, not paying attention, and they just blew past me probably. And we got lights and highway patrol there and everything. And they must have been drinking or so, I don't know, but they went past at a high rate of speed. I had to jump out of the way to avoid getting hit. So that was, it literally grazed my bunker gear, and so that would have killed me right there. So just little things you think fire's going to get you, but there's so many other ways to die in the fire service. Electricity scares the shit out of me.
Are those instances, are they hard, like when they first happen, are they hard to like shake off and go, kind of stick your dick back in the hornet's nest, basically, for a non-poetic way of saying it?
I never had that problem. You certainly think about it. You certainly are more careful the next time. You certainly learn from your mistakes, like everyone should. You learn from what I try to replay what I could have done better with that the electrical line down. Next time I just made sure I had a flashlight I wasn't focused on. 3 a.m, I just woke up. the fire was two minutes away. You're still half asleep trying to do a size up for 5 engines coming in and run this fire out of a dead sleep. So you really have to be focused. So just I learned, check the ground when I'm walking, walk around, educate my guys, teach them, make sure that they learn from my mistakes. And then the same thing with the car. There's not much I really could have done. I was wearing, vest, I had flashlights on, it was lights were lit up. That was just a dumbass that was not paying attention. And so, but no, I've never really focused. I certainly think back now that I'm retired, and I never really understood PTSD. I mean, I do understand it, but I never thought, well, I'm not going to ever have to really deal with that. But it all came to light about a year ago when I realized I'm going to retire. I'm retiring in a year. And all of a sudden, all these calls that I had dealt with for the last 27 years were popping up in my head. I mean, and this one particular call with a 16-year-old girl, I have a 16-year-old girl at home. She was a block from her school. She had a pencil in her mouth and the airbag went off and it killed her right there. And I was less than 3 months on. So here I'm this rookie having to deal with this bloody, and it was a bloody mess. Just a cute little 16-year-old girl. Basically, there was an anesthesiologist there. There's a nurse there. There was a fire department. And we couldn't save her. And so little things like that. I mean, I didn't think about it for 27 years, and all of a sudden now it's popping up and I realized what's happening is you start reflecting back on your career and all these things that you kind of suppress from doing your job because you can't dwell on it. You just got to do your job and go on the next call, whether it be someone being chopped up in a rock grinder, which I've seen, or whatever. It's just like you just move on with your job. But then when you get near the end and you get older, I'm an older guy, not too old, but you start, you think about life more. You start having kids and you start seeing that, and they get older, and anyway, you get more compassion, I guess. And so anyway, I made sure I went and had some good counseling, talked to a really good gal, and we just talked about it, and she completely laid it out for me and told me this is very common for people, first responders, to go through. And so now I totally get it, and I feel good after actually talking about it, because just, in the fire service and the police service, wherever, we have a thing called black humor, where we get back from a call and there might be someone dead there and they ants crawling in their body cavity, wherever, and we're eating a sandwich laughing about it, right? Not really us laughing uncompassionate. It's us getting it off our chest, talking to each other, and it's just a way any firefighter and first responders listening to this totally gets it, and it's just the way we get it off our chest. It's just our way to cope with it. And so but now like I said, you get older, you don't have that anymore. You gotta, especially now that I'm disconnected from the fire service pretty much. I'm retired and just growing ducks, hopefully, and living a very simple life out in the country, So
I think
were you overprotective? My dad was so overprotective about shit that would wear me out. Like, if we're gonna go out and you're in high school and you go with your friends to ride around, it was just always a battle about shit, because he had drugged too many people out of wrecks. He'd been, he'd seen all that stuff. So I guess every time he went to a wreck and stuff, he used to tell me, and I didn't realize it until I had kids, but he would tell me all the time that every time he'd get called to a wreck scene, your heart's racing until you get there to see it's not one of your loved ones or your friends.
Luckily, I lived in a town that's big enough, over 100,000 people, that I didn't have to worry too much. But I did think about that, Jeff. I did think about I went on a couple who was coming home from church one day, and a police pursuit. This douchebag, freaking T-boned him, killed him right there, and we pulled him out. So ever since then, I was just like, I tell my wife, my kids, like, whenever they're driving, just, be careful. Now, I was never overprotective, but I certainly thought about it, and it certainly scared me at times. I try not to dwell on it, but yeah, absolutely. And that's why, the whole Gundog thing came up, about the safety thing with the dogs and getting hurt and shot and injured in the field and stuff like that. So naturally, being someone who's always watching out, trying to protect people and care for life, it's just natural for us to think about that. So I'm sure that's, as much as it might have irritated you with your dad and stuff, he was obviously only concerned about, his family, because he loves and cares for him so much, and would be devastated if anything ever happened to him.
Yeah, he would just see it, and he would. I mean, but it would wear me out though. But then when I got to be when I become a parent, then I understood more of because you put yourself in that situation. And he was in a big town. He was a town of 100,000 people, but he would. I'm not saying they take the work home from him, but like you said, the coping mechanism. If you can't laugh about stuff, that's a way of coping with things.
Well, and I mean, you talk to we have firemen hunt out here, we have police, military, you name it, and we see it, and that's just kind of the sense of humor is also not but it's just like you said, it's just the way that they can talk about it. And I mean, we've got a guy out here that's had to work. He's had to work some of the school shootings, and just talking about some of the things that he's had to see. Little kids that just they're laying in the middle of the hallway, and just the things that he has to see. I mean, if he didn't have a group of guys that have also seen that and be able to talk to them, I mean, he'd go insane.
There's no way to acclimate yourself to walking into a building and seeing 7 people. He talked about a Super Bowl party. He went to a Super Bowl party one time. They had a mass shooting, like 8 or 9 people dead. And walking in there and talking about slipping, the blood is real slick and you have to walk across it and stuff. And just, there's nothing you can do to prepare yourself for that. It's like war. You can't prepare anybody for what you're going to see in war. And you can't, a trauma situation like that, you just can't prepare people for. There's no way.
No. You're right. And it's not normal for the human brain to be able to process a dead baby or someone who's been chopped up. If you can say that's normal and you can deal with it, then you have some issues, because a normal human being should not be able to, I can remember every CPR I've done on an infant to this day. It's not normal to be able to process that. And so that's what I get across to. And when I left the fire department, I talked to a lot of young guys, and I told them, I said, and I explained to them, I said, take it seriously when you guys go at your point in your career where I'm at, where you're ready to retire. Really think about it, and really, if you need to get help, clean your slate, get rid of that shit. Leave that. I left that shit in Yakima. I'm not bringing that shit to Montana with me. That stuff's long gone. I've dealt with it, so I got way more better things now that I'm going to focus on in life. And and I'm not taking anything away from what we did. And there's been some incredible moments in my career that there's people walking around this planet because of actions of me and my crews and what we've done. So it's extremely rewarding. But those who are looking at getting in and serving the public, you do have to realize mentally you're going to be fucked up in your head for a while, whether you, like I said, the military, police, fire, ambulance, whatever. You'll have to deal with it. But
we're at a better point now where I think as a country, we're taking better care of guys in your position, police officers. Back when Jeff's dad was a fire, 70s, 80s, and 90s, guys just didn't talk about it.
No, they drank.
I mean, and that's why you saw, such alcoholism in these professions.
Yes. And you're absolutely right. The stigma is you're pussy. Right. You can't handle it. You got to go see counseling. And that's so fucked up. But I get it, because that's just, you got to man up and just do your job. But it's okay to say, you know what, I got a lot of baggage I'm carrying. Maybe it's time to just sort that stuff out, make sure I get rid of the trash, take the good stuff with me. And so, it has changed. It's important too. It's mental health, and it's just making sure that we're all squared away and we live a good rest of your life, because those who did serve, just like his dad did, and so hopefully he's well.
Well, he's dead now.
He died of cancer.
He died of cancer last year.
So he is well. He's healed.
He's a lot better off now. This election would have killed him.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't have done any good.
He would be pulling his hair out if he saw some of the shit that's going on right now in today's America.
Now,
sounds like a great man.
Yeah. I will tell you this much. I think one of the reasons why in the 70s and the early 80s that those guys didn't really step up and ask for help, my football coach was a Baton Death March survivor. Those guys were the generation before my dad's group of guys. Well, it's hard to go to a guy that went through World War II and to go to them and say, you know, I saw something that really bothered me today. Because 90% of all the men in that generation before them had all been to war doing stuff. And it's kind of like the PTSD and all that stuff. Those guys just come home from war and they put their boots on and went back to work. Now, I know a lot of them had issues probably their whole lives. But those guys were not the kind of guys that were going to be sugarcoating some guy who saw something. Oh, you saw somebody in a wreck and they got killed? Deal with this shit, you know? I seen 16 of my buddies get shot, you know, storming the beaches in Normandy. So you're just going to have to learn to live with shit. And I think that's probably why we've gotten to a better place where we realize that people have emotional problems.
Yeah.
Before we get off the fireman stuff, what is your record on CPR? Did you ever have a survivor?
Oh yeah. And in fact, we have CPR has gotten a lot better because of the data that we've acquired. Not just us, but I'm talking the whole county, the whole state. I can talk in Washington, but CPR has changed. It used to be breathing was the most important thing, but what we really changed and really realized that CPR is actually keeping the blood flowing in the system. And if you look at a human body, they call it high performance CPR, to where it's constantly doing great CPR and you're rotating guys or gals through it quickly. So you got fresh bodies on that because that they've just found it so much more important to get that constant blood flow. And so you're seeing a lot more survivors. Before, it was, when I first came on, it was unheard of. The survival rate for CPR was like, I want to say less than 20%, if that. Now we're up to over 50% to 60% in survival because of the different CPR techniques and the quick, pre-hospital care that we're doing and being able to do that. So, we definitely have. I've had over probably a dozen people make it because of CPR that we've done over the years, and more so, like I said, near the end of the career back, in the early 2000s when they really started changing that and stuff. So, so if any of the viewers, that's the best thing you do. You don't want to put your lips on the dirty ass mouth. You don't have to. Just push on that chest as deep and fast as, at a good rate, and go take a first aid class. They'll teach you the same thing. And no, that's what saves lives, really, is that just pushing on that chest.
Dad was 100%, 7 for 7.
Zero,
they all died.
They all died. Every one of them. That was his joke out here. He said, if you need me to do CPR out here, you're fucked, because I am 7 for 7, and they're all in the graveyard.
Do you guys in Yakima, did they run the ambulances with the fire department?
They do. We have and it was actually a blessing, because a lot of departments, to justify them, they would have a paramedic and an ambulance, and they'd transport, the fire department would actually transport. Where we didn't do that. We ran EMTs and on fire trucks, and we responded with the ambulance. So we'd do our stuff, throw them in the ambulance, and send them off and go back to bed, or whatever we needed to do. So
the thing that's got to be frustrating on that is the amount of overdoses that they're having to run these days and giving Narcan.
Oh,
same guys over and over and over again.
It's funny. I'm just talking about that again today about the Narcan. We started carrying Narcan about 5 years ago. Narcan is a drug that makes heroin overdoses, any opiate, all of a sudden be suppressed, and they come up like nothing happened. And so we started carrying it because it's very convenient. Our budget for Narcan for the department is unbelievable because of the amount of people we brought back. And it just, I don't know, maybe this sounds impassioned, but it's like, at what point do you just, enough is enough? You're a leech on society. You're taken away from something where I could be helping someone who really needs help, yet you decided to put yourself in this situation and do drugs for your whole life and overdose and cost the taxpayers money, and cost possibly someone, like I said, I could be responding to another incident, or another engine has to respond from further away. So it's just, I don't know, this whole thing about continuing to just do bringing the drug addicts back, and now they want to legalize that in Portland. There's no legal drugs in Portland or something like that anymore, or I don't know.
And so you look at how easy Narcan is, and it's free. If you overdose, you're going to get rescued. But I've got a buddy of mine. His kid has diabetes, childhood diabetes. Fucking insulin's out through the roof. I mean, they can barely pay for this shit, and they're just going to give away Narcan to a crackhead in an alley. But this poor kid, he's got to pay through the nose to get his insulin to save his life. It's fucked up.
Yep. $50 a whack
for Narcan.
Every time you. Yep. And that adds up when you're doing 30, 40 of them a month.
Now, do you just pop that anywhere, or is it like an adrenaline shot where you have to go for the heart? The Narcan.
No, it's just basically it's just you just squirt it right up in their nose.
Oh, okay.
It's a nasal Narcan. You squirt it up there, and they're breathe in there, and all of a sudden they revive. Now the medics do carry it in a bottle form where they can inject directly into the vein to where it's a lot faster. But no, that nasal Narcan that we carry, you just squirt it up in their nose, and then within 30 seconds to a minute, all of a sudden they're talking to you like, "What are you guys doing here?" Well, dude, we're breathing for you. You're about to die again.
And they're mad a lot of times because they lose their high.
Oh, absolutely. We teach all our new guys that be ready to fight or be ready to restrain them, because when they come back, and we've gotten into some altercations, but we always have PD.
Yeah.
We always have them there as backup, but now they can't do anything, so we're just stuck fighting them ourselves.
I have a shitty attitude, and after I'd done one Narcan to some guy, I'm gonna have a hard time reacting very fast to save his ass. If you want to die, go right ahead. I'm a Christian, but I'm not a good Christian. I'm not gonna walk across the street to save your ass. If you don't want to help yourself, then that's your problem. And I feel sorry for the guys that get put in that situation.
Now, was it hard for you to transition from firefighter to your desk job? Is that another hurdle that was hard for you in your career?
Very hard, because actually when they put me in that position, they made me a training lieutenant. Mm-hmm. And so I was in charge of training all the new guys, and I did a lot of the physical work of the training aspect, whereas the training captain, he kind of sets up the programs and does a lot more working with the state and stuff like that. So I was still hands-on, but I'm physically out there training with the guys, and I didn't want to do that shit. I wanted to be in the mix. I wanted to get in there with my guys. I didn't want to leave my crew. I wanted to get fight in the fight. But there's a reason they picked me. It's not like I volunteered. I was a lieutenant, and I was up for it, and they chose me. So I now look back and I'm honored, because if you're gonna pick someone to train your guys, don't you think you're gonna pick someone who's decent at their job? So that's kind of, I look back now that after I was pissed off for about the first couple of months because it ruined it. I mean, it changed. I was doing a TV show, The Grind. I was 3-year season. I was able to travel and do all that stuff. So I had to make a choice. Do I keep doing the TV show, take a demotion and go back to firefighter, or I just suck it up, quit the TV show, realize this is my career? And so that's what I did. And I just, this is what pays the bills. It's fun to travel and do the TV thing, but when it all comes down to it, I'm not getting a check from them that pays my mortgage and puts food on the table. So that's why I chose to do that. And I embraced it. And there is, you just got to look at the rewards. You're not sitting there at 3 a.m. with your crew after just kicking ass in a fire and while the whole city's still asleep. You don't have that feeling of satisfaction, but you do have a satisfaction when you're looking at guys now who are kick-ass firefighters that you were their training lieutenant, and they're the ones coming out of it, and they're doing the things that you taught them to do. That's where I would look at my gratification and my satisfaction. So I always say I fought fire from a desk.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of look at that like I do maybe like guiding a hunt. Like if I have a couple days off out here and like I've not been out there with my guys and they're all cutting up about what's going on the last couple days at lunch, I'm like, motherfucker, I missed it. Like, well, I slept in today. Yeah. I had the day off, so I did. Listen, I've got a family and I've got kids, so I need my days off now to keep my wife around. Otherwise, she'd leave my ass. But
she wouldn't. She wouldn't stay very long.
Yeah, she wouldn't stay very long if I didn't have that day off here and there. But I mean, it's the same type of brotherhood, and we're all in this together. And when you remove yourself from that, it's hard to be like, well, shit, it's going on without me somehow.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And I get it. The same thing with the military. That's why you hear about guys not wanting to leave their squad or their company, after getting shot up or get injured. They want to stay and fight the fight because, they're fighting for their guys. And that's the same mentality we always had. I was very protective when I was an officer, very protective of my guys. And so, that was hard when they promoted me to training lieutenant. And so, but, I did 20 years in the trenches. So I definitely did my duty. So.
Okay, let's talk about the new life now. You keep saying you're farming ducks. What are you doing with these ducks?
Well, I bought a piece of little property in Montana, and it just so happens there's some birds that fly all over, and it just so happens this piece of property sits on the river, the Clark Fork River, and so I've hunted a lot of land where I've kind of managed ducks and managed property but I've never built it from scratch. So now I have this beautiful piece of land, 30 acres, sitting in a flyway, and next to the river. There's 4,000 honkers that roosted on my river next to it all season last year. No one hunted them. Well, what's insert me? You kind of figure out where I'm going with this. I've already worked it out with the farmer where, I don't have the tractors and all that stuff, but I do have the land, which is valuable when you're running cattle and stuff like that. So we've got a plan where I'm going to start, we're going to grow some wheat and some barley and some buckwheat and some corn and we'll just play, man. Just have fun. I got my buddy left a skid steer here for me, and I jumped on it. Next thing you know, I'm building a duck pond. So
was Montana always the exit strategy, or did you look at some other states before you settled on Montana?
I looked at Montana. Was always dear to my heart because I lived here when I was young for about 3 years when I was a young man, and so I always kind of wanted to come back to Montana. I did look at Idaho, but realized that the entire state of California is moving to Idaho, and so I looked at Wyoming, but Wyoming just doesn't have the waterfowl draw that Montana does. I've hunted Montana a couple times on the TV show, both TV shows, and it's always been very good to me. The scenery, it can be unbelievable depending where you're hunting. So that's just kind of where I just wanted. Plus, I do like chasing big game once in a while, and being able just to buy an over-the-counter elk tag and be able to hunt bull elk over the counters is pretty awesome too. So it's just something that, I've just kind of been drawn to. That's where I wanted to. I looked the hardest in Montana, and it was really easy to decide once I started really doing my research and wanting to get somewhere where I just kind of, like I said, had my own little world where I didn't have to mess with dumbasses anymore.
Yeah, well, Montana's the place. Just give it time, though. If California, if all those assholes figure it out, they'll be. I don't think they're going to stop at Idaho, the little fuckers.
If the people would come from California and move and realizing they're escaping all the shit they're getting sick of, but don't come here and try to change it to where they come from. That's what the problem is.
That's absolutely right.
And it's that way. And Austin, Texas is that way now. They've turned it into fucking L.A. The East L.A. is what all of Central Texas is becoming fast.
Yeah, it's sad. We're not going to be. I feel sorry for my kids and my grandkids. Right now I'll be dead before it gets here, but it's going. It's coming. It's all coming. It doesn't matter where. It's all coming.
By 2050, you won't even be able to tell the United States from a lot of places. I don't think. I mean, Europe's not the answer. Europe's a shithole.
Oh, Canada's not the answer.
No, fuck no.
That's about it. There's socialist society. Look at how much everything costs up there.
Someone told me today, they said, if you take out the 11 metropolis areas in the United States and just dissolved them, the United States would be a great place to live still. I was like, yeah, that's exactly right.
Problem is, that's where all the people are.
That's it is. But I would much rather be where you are in Bridger, Montana, or to be in Napoleon, North Dakota, than I would to be living in Los Angeles or Austin, Texas, or anything like that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And if I was raising kids, I understand raising kids, and you got to make money to raise your kids. I mean, the money's what makes the world go around. But if you can give up some of that money and go put your family in a small town, you're doing your family you're screwing that family by not doing that if you can. Not everybody's in that position to do that. I understand that. But if you can do it, take less money and move to a small town and spend time with your kids and family, because once your kids become 14 or 15 years old, they don't have no use for you till they're about 30 anyways.
Yeah.
That is true. We started this podcast when I was about 30, so that's living testament to that.
Yeah. Because before that, you don't realize. I mean, that's just the way it is. We're all that way. You've got a daughter. How old is she?
2 daughters. I have a 30-year-old who's just a rock star. She's all over the place. You don't see her. I try to get her on the podcast, but she's too busy for me. And then I got an 18-year-old who just graduated. She just graduated with her AA as well, so I'm super proud of her. Unfortunately, she's going to Seattle Pacific University, but hopefully she gets done with that and moves out somewhere. But, she understands where my political philosophy lies and what I believe in, my values and family values. So hopefully that carries her. She doesn't get brainwashed by some of the BS that's going over on that left side of the coast.
But you had 2 14-year-old daughters in your lifetime. About 14 is when they become stone deaf and they're smarter than you are. My brother's got a daughter that's that way right now.
Oh my God.
Don't matter what the fuck he says, she knows more. But it's that age from 14 up is when it hits. Now, at about 27, 28, kids start realizing that their parents weren't so stupid, and they get a guilt, well, I was a real asshole to dad or mom all those times. But it's hard. But to raise those kids, especially in the big cities nowadays, is crazy. I couldn't imagine having a daughter anyways.
You're not built for a daughter. Neither. No. I don't.
No.
Well, I say that. I don't know that any guy that hasn't had a daughter that imagines having a daughter. Like, you seem like you've handled it pretty well. But I don't know. I've got 2 boys, so I've never had to put myself in that situation. But, like, you're a lot tougher, I think, having a girl. I think you're a better parent. Because with me, like, I'm just like, they're boys. They'll figure it out.
We had a conversation about sex the other day with kids, and I said that I don't want to think of my granddaughter having sex when she gets that age. But if she's 16 years old and she has sex, that's not the end of the world. I mean, it is, but it's not. I mean, it's life. It happens. But if my 16-year-old grandson is getting laid, it's a different type deal. You don't look at it that way.
Just his attitude saying it like that.
Well, but that's the way that we look at it as men. That's the way we look at it. But if you got a 16-year-old daughter and she's having sex, it ain't too bueno.
No. It's so funny you talk about this because my 18-year-old just came out here with her boyfriend she's seen for 2 years. And I've never really seen them hang out because she does live with her mother. So I've met him a couple of times. But to see them, and she's 18, she's an adult, she graduated. He's an adult, he's 18, great kid, hard worker, not like most kids. He's out here helping me take fences down and stuff like that. But just to see him with his arms around her or cuddling in the couch, it's like I either went to the bar or went outside.
but that's
it was just like it's just different. Yeah. It's just like if it was a boy, it's like, oh, whatever. Yeah, your girl's hot.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend's cute. But when it's your daughter, it's like, I'll kill you if you do anything in my house.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though I can't say that they are. She's really Christian. Yeah. She's really, really Christian. We even talked about it. She's even told me, she goes, Dad, you know that I'm a really strong Christian and I have beliefs. And I said, perfect. You need to be a virgin until you're 30. That's all I'm asking.
But that is a normal deal. When Andy was 14 years old, they had a school dance. And Andy's father-in-law was a chaperone just like I was. Now, here's the story. It's funny. Andy wasn't dating his wife at the time. He was dating her sister.
No, I wasn't dating.
You was dancing with her sister.
That's all I was
doing. He was dancing with his sister-in-law at the time.
We were in junior high.
Yes.
We were in fucking junior high.
I'm not.
Give me a break.
But Andy is dancing with her, and he's got his hand on her ass.
No, I did not.
Yes, he did. And her dad is standing next to me, and I said, Charlie. I said, I bet we're looking at this a little bit different. He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you sitting there seeing Andy have your daughter's ass cheek cupped in his hand, and you're thinking, I want to kill that little bastard. I'm thinking, that way to go, son. But that is just the way we look at it. It's a different deal.
You embellish so much shit. It was not on her ass. Do you think, as modest as I am, that I would do that at a junior high dance?
Yes, I would.
No.
So you never grabbed your sister-in-law's ass?
Never.
This is going to change it. Everybody listens to this
Never.
podcast that listens to it all the time
Never.
are going to think completely different of you, Andy, now.
It's a small town. Listen, Alex, I had 30 people in my graduating class. Like, all girl, they got good genetics. They're hot.
He's awful nervous now.
I'm
Did you
very
notice
nervous.
this?
I'm fucking sweating. Listen, I went to a small high school. Options were limited. You had to explore them all.
I don't have a problem with you dating the sister and the sister.
How did this turn to on me?
I don't know.
We were talking about.
Matt,
I don't understand.
Matt Reagan used to tell you if you dated the mom, you'd have the whole trifecta going. Remember that?
Yeah. I look back on my childhood and some of the people that we had out here and some of the shit that I heard. It's amazing I turned out as well as I did.
So, anyways, your 18-year-old daughter brung her boyfriend. And they stayed with you for a little bit, and he worked outside. Today, that's a good mark of a good kid.
That's got to be refreshing to see.
Absolutely. It really is, because so much now, like even it's hard to even get my stepson, who he's 18. It's hard to get him motivated. I mean, he's a good kid. He means well, but just that's a kid. I know kids, and so this kid is out there. But I think he wanted to get an invite to come out and shoot a deer.
That's good,
That's why he's buzzing his ass on the farm.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Whatever your motivation is, if you're out there sweating, pulling fence posts, wrapping up barbed wire, you got my permission to shoot a deer. Maybe not bone my daughter, but you can shoot a deer.
But he works hard. That's good. I've got an 18-year-old kid that works for us, and he works. You can't find 5 kids that are 18 years old that'll work. I mean, he does a good thing, and I'm telling you right now, if I had a daughter and Gabriel, the kid that works for us, was dating her, I would be happy. Now, I know he does have an old van he bought called the MILF-mobile they ride around in. So
He got an old Astro van, and he's taking out like the back seats. He's putting in a stripper pole in the back. I mean, he's putting in some money on this thing. The van cost $1,000. He's going to spend about $5,000 in remodeling it. So I don't know. You might retract that statement, Jeff.
but he's a great kid.
18
He's an
years
18-year-old
old, I mean.
kid, but he works. But if you tell him to work, he don't try to get out of it. He does it. No excuses. Don't matter what you tell him to do. He don't mind getting his hands dirty. And you can't find that because most 18-year-old kids are buried in a fucking iPhone or on a computer, and kids today don't even have tans no more because they stay inside all the time.
Right. Yep. Yep. They don't want to go outside and enjoy it. Like, we're in some incredible country right now, and it's like, even as much as I love my daughter, it's like, go outside, go enjoy it. But she's on her. I went viral today or whatever on Snapchat or whatever. Good word, daughter. You need to get it.
What's the fishing like on your place? Really good?
I've been so busy. I haven't been able to really get fishing. But from what I understand, it's 30 miles away. It dumps in the Yellowstone River. I mean, we got some world-class fly fishing further up, on the western part of the state. But I think it's going to be pretty good once I'm kind of in a transition phase right now because I don't want to buy a non-resident license because I'm so close to being able to buy a resident hunting and fishing license. So I'm just, a couple months away. So I'm kind of holding off on doing all that stuff. But I'll let you know as soon as I do that because, I plan on doing a lot of hunting and fishing. Once I just get this place in the shape, old couple. I bought this about 30 acres. Like I said, this old couple owned it. He was a doctor, a brain doctor, but he had ended up with Parkinson's. So he was this property is way too much for them. And so I've spent the last month just getting rid of trash and pulling fences. And I mean, there's just a lot of work, but it's part of it. It's just something I own, this chunk of beautiful land now in Montana that I can claim my own, and I hopefully don't have to leave very far to hunt it. I'm hopefully going to attract a bunch of, every day there's deer in the field, so I got plans of putting deer stands up there and, just hopefully not having to travel far to do much.
I see you on Instagram. I see on your story you're working like a mule cleaning this place up.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm putting 10 to 12 hours a day. I said it's just like what I've done is just like if you look at it before and what it looks at now, it's like, and I'm not done. This is just the beginning. I plan on putting a big shop up here for the company. Big pole shop for Gundog, moving it in there. I've even toyed with the idea of maybe open up a little like a little store in Bridger just as a headquarters to just have a place, an office. But who knows? We're just, right now it's just taking one day at a time and cleaning things up and getting ready for winter because it does get fucking cold here. I remember that, but that's just part of moving here, and that's hopefully keeps a lot of the Californians from moving here.
Bridger's a cool town. Is it a lot of forest where you are at, or are they still to the west of you a little bit?
The forest is not far. I mean, we're 30 minutes from the little town of Red Lodge, which is the foothills of the Custer National Forest, which goes right into Yellowstone. So we're not, Yellowstone. I think the east gate of Yellowstone is 2 hours from our house. So we're not far. There's I know there's bear been through the property. I know wolves have come through here. Cougar are constantly through here. I'm sure there's been an elk or two that has wandered through. I know that they're not far. There's a small elk herd. So we're right at that transition, the way I kind of look at it, to where you really get into a lot more agriculture. There is agriculture on the west side of the state, but then you got the big mountains, and it just seems like you have a lot more big game over there. I mean, you do find your birds, but if you're going to bird hunt, it's from about where I'm at east, all the way to the Dakota border is where you're gonna get into really good bird hunting. And so that's kind of where I just kind of, I don't know, this place attracted me because I've hunted around here. I know people who live here. And so.
Now, last year you were hunting in Idaho, weren't you, when you were sending me all those pictures? That was on the Snake River, was it? Was it? Let me see. Let me go back and look.
Was it Idaho? Was hunting? Or was it Oregon?
Maybe it was Oregon. Oh, shit, I don't have the pictures anymore.
Well, if you get some free time this winter, you need to come down and see us.
I would love to. Now I do have free time. I would love to come with you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
So you got the new bumpers out for Gundog. You've got the safety kits that I think if you're guiding a waterfowl hunt or participating in a waterfowl hunt, I think you need to have one or two, one in your pickup, one in your blind bag. You got the quick release system.
It's blowing off just crazy. It's ridiculous how that's going. It's like everyone loves it now. I mean, it's just the first aid there's some people reached out. They wanted the first aid kit because we made it originally in blaze orange, so you could find it real easy. Upland bird hunters love it because they can put it right on their vest and snap it on, or their belt, whatever. But there's waterfowl hunters who really wanted that darker color that blended in, and then so I came up with the hunter green. I call it just basically the olive, drab, and black. And so that's it's a sharp product. It's a good looking product. More so, it's a well put together product, very thought out. And so it's just, like I said, Cabela's reached out to me. They wanted to carry it. We sold a ton of them. People who get feedback all the time. People saying they've used it on their dog. I mean, a bunch, So it just makes me feel great that I'm able to put a product out there that people are using, and I'm getting feedback from it. And so, doing that. And the bumpers, I was working on a dog vest, but it's just hard I got a prototype, but to work with the factory to actually do it, it's been a headache. So right now I'm just focused on continuing doing what I do, and I got other ideas I'm wanting to do. But now that this is my main focus with the company, I'm going to start traveling more, doing some big shows. I got a bunch of ideas that it takes obviously money, and it takes time to field test these things and do stuff like that. So that's kind of where we're at, just slowly. I'm not trying to just blow up and expand, because a lot of times if I blow up too fast, then financially I can't afford it. I mean, I own the company. I have no still investors. This is my savings I put into the company, and I'm operating in the black. So I'm doing something right, in my opinion. We're growing. We're doubling in size every year. So, I can't say that I'm not. I mean, I make mistakes and things, but I'm learning. And the easiest thing I found is just have great customer service. If someone's not happy with your product, let them return it. No questions asked. Maybe I'm going to eat the shipping on it. Oh, well, and so that's my whole thing is just like incredible customer service as best as I can. I don't ever want to have a complaint about, their customer service sucks, because that's not what we're about. It's like, if you legitimately aren't happy with our product, I will refund your money. I'll make sure you're happy, because we work way too hard for our money to just piss it away on product that sucks or you don't want. And so that's just my whole philosophy.
Well, that's exactly right. Are you going to Game Fair this year?
I am. I'll be there we've got a big booth this year. We've got a full booth. Our display is amazing. It's going to be beautiful. If you guys are around, stop by.
We'll be up there. We're going to be up there the second weekend.
Second weekend we'll be there.
Contest, so.
Beautiful. We'll get together and have some road sodas.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be great. Well, listen, I know you've got a whole farm to clear off. I'm glad that you're at retirement. You're at a good place. I'm glad we finally got you back on the podcast, and keep kicking ass out there. And we look forward to Gundog growing, and we're proud to be a part of your team and spread the word about Gundog.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you guys because you guys are awesome. What I love about you guys is you guys keep it real. And you talk about real life stuff and you don't pull any punches. And your values are right there where they need to be. And you're not a bunch of sellouts. And so you guys do outstanding. And I will be with you guys as long as you guys have your podcast and keep kicking ass, guys.
We appreciate it, Alex. And we'll let Andy buy some beer in Minnesota. And I'll look forward to seeing you then.
I'll buy.
Sounds good, guys.
See you, Alex.
You have a good day.
Damn it, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you're slipping, Andy.
Slipping.
Alex Langbell, interesting guy. Well, he lives in a beautiful place, too. Man,
Yes,
we drove through there, and I was be pretty jealous if I drove through there now. I think he gets to live here, and I'm stuck in West Texas.
Yep.
All right, thank y'all for listening to us. Remember, we're fixing to release the rules for the giveaway.
About another week or so, and then it'll go live first part of August.
All right.
We'll run it about a month.
All right, thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all, and have a great week.
Check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Gundog. You need that field trauma kit, and you know you do. Or if you got a shithead dog like me, you're gonna need the quick release. Check out Pacific Calls, Dive Bomb Industries, Boss Shot Shells, Dirty Duck Coffee, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass, Duck Club Podcast, Goose Creek Retrievers, Bangtail Whiskey, Eyesight Drone Service, and Stanfield Hunting Outfitters.